congratulations, Angela, Leah, for this film. Must be a relief to not talk about Eternals or Westworld at this point. But yeah, congratulations for a house on the Bayou.
Thank you.
So let's start with that easy question. What initially attracted you to a project like this? Let's start with Angela.
I had not seen this kind of marriage, this kind of relationship explored. At least for me, I like looking at characters that I have never played or never kind of hit the surface of. And I'd gotten the sides for this. I'd auditioned for it. And I found it that fascinating, the tension that exists between this husband and wife and the underlying reasons why he cheats on her. Because the movie starts with Jessica having learned that her husband has cheated on her, and she confronts him. So I thought, how interesting is it to have an entire story about a woman who tries to unite their family and to be a mother and to try to keep that as the most important thing. And things don't necessarily go the way they're supposed to. So that was an interesting challenge to learn that we don't have control over things as much as we think we do. We might say one thing, but something different.
What about for you, Leah?
Well, I like to do, like Angela said, I like to challenge myself and do different things. And it's easy. It's sort of easy for me because I can't, like every year I look different. I change. So, so like when I was 11 and then, I was in a movie and, at this age I couldn't play an 11-year-old. So, everything I get to do is really different, which I'm fortunate because that's what I like to do. But I was excited to play this character because it's the first time I've really been able to be like a teenager and kind of represent that like older age. And I found that Anna is similar to a lot of kids out there. She's very, insecure, and she doesn't realize, maybe she's grown up a little bit, but hasn't really realized it. And, people are seeing her differently than she sees herself. And she comes into the movie with this like innocence to her. I like when characters kind of grow and change throughout the movie because it makes them more interesting for the audience. And I think it's really, it makes a movie special when it makes you feel something. I like to, broaden my horizons and get to sort of see the world and other people's experiences by watching films. So that's what really drew me to this part.
I think Angela brought up a good point about the family dynamic in this film, because when I watched it, I saw that the mother was willing to do anything and everything for the daughter. And then the daughter was trying to do anything and everything for the father. And the father was like, who cares? But we did talk about that dynamic a little bit more, and how you guys developed the chemistry to, between the mother, daughter, and the father dynamic.
I thought we had really this interesting opportunity because there was a willingness between Lia and I, and actually Jacob, to spend real time together. We were hanging out, we were having dinners. I was learning a lot about her. She was actually there with her mother, Lisa, and there was this home, this unit, and we built our characters based on each other. So that family dynamic, you would think that a husband and wife would think that family is the most important thing, whereas in this case, might not be the situation. And you don't want your daughter to know the full story. So for her, she does want to protect her father because how her mother's behaving doesn't make any sense in that world. So it's a challenge, it's a challenge to hold that innocence that she represents. Her falling in love with this boy that could be so toxic. Jacob's character is insane. Like you want to protect that love, you want to protect your child, and yet you also understand that similar thing in Jessica was attracted her to John. It was what drew her to him, and yet here we are. This is not what you would have predicted. So yeah, I think that's sort of my answer to you. Long-winded.
Lia, you want anything to add?
I think I think, sorry, can you repeat the question? I forgot what you asked.
We were talking about the family dynamic between mother, daughter, and father in this case.
I think that when you watch the movie, you can sort of see that Anna's parents are, you know, going through a lot with each other. I think that sort of pulls their focus away from her, and she's feeling that lack of love, I think, even if it's not really intentional on her parents' part. And because they're, as Angela said, not really telling her anything, she sees her mother sort of, you know, taking out her anger on her dad, which she has every right to do, but Anna doesn't understand it, and she thinks her mom is just, you know, being difficult and, you know, ruining their fun times. And she has that, you know, really sweet kind of bantery bond with her dad. And what's really like, what kind of brings the movie at the end is that Anna realizes like what really happened and what her dad sort of did, I think, and she's like okay with it. I don't know. It was an interesting thing to understand. That's what I love about the script in the movie and all these characters too, is, you know, coming from each of the characters' standpoint and understanding like what is going on within them. And I found it so easy to bond with Angela as my mom. I mean, she really took so much care getting to know me, and like I got to know her really well, and it was so like easy to have that sort of like bond with her.
How much of the creepy vibes did you guys get with Jacob on screen and when the camera is off?
No creepy vibes. He was so sweet, so sweet and thoughtful and special, like a really special person and a friend. Like I have a real relationship to Lia. She and I are friends, and whenever she comes to LA, we see each other, we spend time together. And that was a similar situation with Jacob too. Like he's like a buddy. He helped me put an audition on tape. Lia helped him put an audition on tape. Like we had a real kind of a bond.
Yeah, I became very close with Jacob during filming, and that made it like so much easier to do like those, you know, harder scenes with him maybe, and to feel really comfortable. He was so sweet. There's a scene where he's sort of terrorizing us a little bit, and he makes me cry. And he was like, later that night, he's like, Lia, I felt so bad. He's like, you were crying because of me. I felt terrible.
Now, of course, we can't forget that Paul is also in the film as the father. How is it acting alongside with Paul Schneider?
I love working with Paul. I think he's a wonderful actor. He always says, it's funny, he goes, I'm not an actor. I'm not. He's so quirky and he'd say these things, but he wasn't a part of our unit in that same way. He consciously, I think, chose to do his own thing, and it created that natural disconnect between him and I. And I was fascinated with the way that he works. So if everything that you see is fed from real things, obviously that's not, we're not married, we don't have that relationship, but I always like to build things from the truth of what that relationship is.
Now, the house itself was its own character. Could you tell me about this production set? Did you film it in an actual house or a set that was actually created?
Yeah, we filmed almost all of it in this like really like big like house in Louisiana on the Bayou.
Yeah.
The setting was like so incredible. The drive to work every day, it was really beautiful, and the inside of the house is very, I think, like old, and it also gave it that kind of creepy vibe to it, and like the set decor, you know, like the old like classic like type horror house, I guess. Yeah, and the secret room part, the hallway was filmed on a soundstage actually, so that was separate from it.
Now, since this was actually filmed, on the Bayou itself, is there any fun activities that you got to do on the Bayou, or is it just all work and no play?
The day before wrap, Angela unfortunately couldn't come, but me and Jacob, my mom, Zoe, a couple other people from set, we did this like Bayou adventure tour, because the grocery store where we filmed, the owners of it, part of that was they did this Bayou adventure tour, and they take you on these kayaks, and it was like a 3-4 hour round trip. We kayaked like an hour and a half to this little marsh, and saw the ocean. It was really beautiful. And then we kayaked back in the dark with like alligators swimming under us and like kicking their tails on our boats. It was scary. It was like a whole like different experience though that you could ever get anywhere else. It was very tiring. It was fun. It was a good end to like the Bayou. We really got a taste of it.
Oh gosh, I didn't know about the alligators underneath. That's so scary.
My mom was freaking out. I was like, my mom made me do it. It's her fault. She was like, we have to experience everything. If I had it my way, I would just like stay in a hotel everywhere that I traveled. I like to sleep when I'm not working. My mom's like,
yeah,
no,
I wish I'd gone with you guys. I wasn't feeling, I felt like I was gonna get a cold or something, and we still had another day, and I had so many scenes that particular day to do that were emotionally demanding. So I was like,
yeah,
I need to sleep this out, because our days were long, and we would have nights to prepare. So sleep was like the most kind of comforting thing.
I know, we all wanted to sleep. Angela was it was like 4 a.m. I think you got back one day. And then the fire alarm went off at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, Angela just went to bed. Oh, poor girl's gonna be woken up by the fire alarm.
But it's like an adventure. Like, you never know. You're not going to have that experience again. So
No, definitely not. It was like one of a kind thing.
Well, it certainly does sound like you both had a wonderful experience and a lot of fun on this production. But one more thing before I let you both go is I was so fascinated with your characters in this story. I forgot about the cat. What do you suppose happened to the cat?
What am I supposed to happen to the cat? I mean,
what happened to your cat, Leah? Tell us.
I don't know what happened to my cat. The cat was very interesting. The cat never listened. And the cat like never did what we wanted to do. It was funny. And the cat actually loved Jacob in real life. The cat didn't like me very much. He liked Jacob. It's not very nice. Toby.
Tub.
Yeah, they called him Tub Tub. I didn't want to call him Tub Tub, but Alex was like, no, I like Tub Tub. It makes it feel like sweeter. So I called him
Alex, our director, is really sweet.
Yeah, he's very sweet. He's like, no, I want you to call him Tub Tub. I felt they would make fun of me because I'm always like, Toby, Tub Tub. So Angela and Jacob would make fun of me. That's like, I say that like 10 times.
He does it well, I think.
Thank you.
Well, then I guess I'll ask him what happened to the cat. Well,
nah, no one knows what happened to the cat.
You know what? Cats have 9 lives. Let's not forget. So maybe he decided that he's going to go off and have an independent life with the alligators.
There we go. Well, Angela, Lia, hey, thank you very much for talking to us about A House on the Bayou. Hopefully we get to do this again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.